Okay, this is the third video. We're talking about this whole Helikon-Tex Swagman roll thing. Alright? Talking about my experience with it on the Ruck March, the Remote Military March. And my plans concerning it. Might help to open it up, huh? My plans concerning this Helikon-Tex Swagman roll. So, I left off, I was waiting on my extraction from my ride, right? Let's get a little bit tactical with it, right? So you're waiting for your exfil. Anyway, getting extracted from my ride. So I put this thing on. Damp, foggy, not raining, but you know, it's pretty miserable, getting cold because, you know, I wasn't cold, but I was chilled because of the dampness, the fog, the dampness. And it had been drizzly rain, you know, over the whole time period, here and there. So I shook it off, put it on. The inside was dry again, as I had spoken of before. The outside was a little damp, the inside was dry. So I put it on and buckled it up, and warmed right up. The wind was cut. Did not have any issues with the wind. And then I had the rucksack on the ground leaning against something. I had my headlamp around my neck. I knew which direction the vehicle would be coming to get me, but the wind was also in that direction, so I had my back to the wind. But I heard a car coming, and when they got pretty close, I turned around and I pulled out the headlamp from my neck area, and I put it on the red flasher. And then they slowed down and pulled in to where I was. And then I loaded up the ruck, got in the vehicle, and we proceeded to take off. I was told later that the only reason why they saw me was the red flasher. And I didn't really turn around until they were almost there, right? So they were pretty close, 100 feet away maybe. And then I turned around and put the flasher on. They said there was greenery, but they said that they wouldn't have even known I was there. They would have driven right past if I hadn't have turned around and then showed them the flasher. So, you know, tiger stripe obviously comes through again. I've always used tiger stripe in many different times in my past, and it's always been good for me. So it has all these great qualities, right? Has really great qualities for warmth and moisture wicking, moisture repelling, concealment capabilities. You know, I think that they probably made the head and neck area larger, because I have zero complaints with that, and I haven't seen any complaints other than videos that are several years ago, right? So what are my cons? Okay, so the really the biggest there's really two cons in my opinion. Okay, one is, and it's the biggest one, is the way that you're supposed to secure this. Okay, nothing to do with these toggles down here. It's this side release buckle. Alright, I'm going to use this coyote brown one here so it's easier to see. Now, they use this stretchy elastic material in black. You know, it seems to be well sewn and everything. But the thing is that number one, this is a Chinese buckle. We all know that this is made in China for a company in Poland, so they do have. It is made in China. Let's just you know, we just have to accept it unless they change that. But the thing is I have this kind of knotted on here right now. The end is kind of like stuck back on itself, and that's because this thing will slide. It won't stay where you put it. Eventually, this will be buckled, and this will not be attached to the buckle because it will weasel its way out because it's too slick, right? So, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change that out. I'm going to do a measurement on how wide this is, and then I'm going to get a nylon webbing strap. I'll just cut this off right there, and then I will sew this very well. I will sew a nylon webbing strap where this is. Okay, just sew it really good. And then I will try to get a couple of buckles. I will try to get a couple of American-made Duraflex buckles to go along with these. So there's two here, and I'm gonna replace them. That's what it's gonna come down to. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another strap. Okay, I'm gonna add another strap, basically through the crotch area. Okay, that I'm gonna figure out kind of where I want it, and I'll probably add another strap through the crotch area. That's just something I'm thinking of. Between front and back, right? That's just something I'm thinking of. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to do that or not. It's just like a 50%. Okay, but looking at the actual garment with what we have, I'm going to replace that because this elastic stuff is too slick and it just creeps. You can't keep it anywhere. You know, you say, oh, I'll adjust it to there. It doesn't stay there. It just goes on the way out. And then eventually this little sewn section at the bitter end creeps through. It might creep all the way through to where it's just not attached. It might. I didn't have that happen because I knotted it off, but it could, right? So that's going to go away. I'm going to put at a minimum. I'm going to put webbing, right? A nylon strap, or maybe poly. If I can get poly's a little bit better than nylon because it has more resistance to sun than nylon does. Now, here's my second gripe about the Helikon-Tex Swagman roll. Well, yeah, and I'm gonna have a third because I'm gonna bring this up. I brought the third one up already. Actually, I brought this up too. I didn't bring up the first one because I hadn't tested it yet. But the second and the third gripe I have, I've already brought up to Helikon-Tex, and you know how companies are these days. Yeah, well, maybe, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, a lot of this, right? I don't like that. I told them to forward it to their managers, to their head shed, right? We'll see what happens. But the inside of this, okay, this needs to be reversible to where you can have this tiger stripe right here, this green and black tiger stripe, right? So this is kind of like a spring summer tiger stripe, right? You need, and on the inside you need to have desert tiger stripe so that you can have like an autumn winter setup, right? Just turn it inside out, and there you go. Then you got 2 in 1, okay? But this has black on the inside. Obviously, if you want to dry this out fairly quickly, you shake it out and then show the sun the black side, and it will heat up a bit faster, and you know, all the moisture will dry out. But I don't really worry about that too much, because if you wear it, your body heat will dry it out, because that climate shield will wick all that moisture away from you anyway. Yeah. So the third thing is a poncho, right? So Helikon-Tex has every poncho under the sun, right? As far as camouflage color goes. They don't even have a tiger stripe poncho to go with the tiger stripe Swagman roll. That's pretty stupid in my opinion. You know, if you're gonna make something, you know, have a corresponding poncho to go with it, you know, and make that reversible too. So you have Swagman roll that's summer, you know, spring summer on one side with the green and black, and autumn winter with the browns and tans and whatnot, tiger stripe on the other side, and do the same with a poncho. And you know what? I saw a comparison between Helikon-Tex poncho with a USGI. That's the brand USGI, not the actual issue poncho. USGI poncho, right? And the USGI poncho brand was more, it was just better. It was a little bit larger. It was more in line with issue kit than a Helikon-Tex. So the Helikon-Tex is slightly smaller. Now, the poncho that I have right now is a Snug Pack Patrol poncho. So, and I've had that for 13 years or so. So I got that at about the same time I got the poncho liner. Haven't had any issues with those. But I'm not throwing away my Snug Pack poncho liner, because number one, it has arms, and number two, I sewed the sides shut on it, okay, because I didn't want it as a blanket. I wanted it for a poncho liner, and I wanted it in case I wanted to put it on underneath my smock, and then tuck it up into the smock and pull the hem cords tight. Keep it up in there for insulation. Okay, you want things that are versatile, right? So as soon as I got this, I put the poncho, the Snug Pack insulated poncho liner on, and then because it has arms, and then I put on the Helikon-Tex Swagman roll, and I started to overheat. Oh yeah. And then the idea is to be able to have on those two and then the poncho on top, right? Layers, right? So you want to keep yourself insulated and you want to keep yourself dry, right? And the Climate Shield will wick all that crap away, get rid of it. Anyway, 9 out of 10 in my opinion on the Helikon-Tex Swagman roll. So I'm going to be swagging until the Swagman roll gets better. It's an opportunity for improvement. You know, you see some of the somewhat negative parts that I talked about. It's an opportunity to improve an already good product. All right? Catch you later.